In the news, issues of local government autonomy, inclusion and good governance dominate discourse as Open Parliament Week enters day 2.
Today, when you look at an institution like traditional institutions, absent from being included in the governance, it has given us a long while of gap.
National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Governance makes case for quality legislation.
Archaeological platform, they all work together. And that is why our governments must always encourage.
Plus, update from State Houses of Assembly. Good evening and welcome to NTA Parliament News. I am Ene Ojonuba. President Bola Tinubu has charged the executive and legislative arms of government to create more channels for Nigerians to voice their concerns and participate in policy formulation. This was his message to the Legislative Open Week organized by the House of Representatives. National Assembly correspondent Mitaire Ikpen reports.
To recognize a 27 to 2011.
Citizens are given access to the National Assembly for the Open Week of the House of Representatives.
An open parliament is the cornerstone of a thriving democracy.
Speaker Tajuddin Abbas says it is a unique opportunity to engage directly with the public and promote accountability.
By opening our doors, we invite scrutiny and dialogue, which are essential for improving governance and strengthening democratic institutions.
To engendering a more inclusive and democratic legislative process.
When citizens are engaged, they become active partners.
President Tinubu's representative, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, emphasizes that national challenges require greater citizens' engagement.
We must engage through town hall meetings, because not all citizens have the means to come to Abuja.
Ministers and former presiding officers of the House could not agree less.
If anybody has anything more efficient or effective, let us debate it.
The necessity for engagement and talking with the people at all times is an absolute necessary ingredient for a healthy democratic journey.
Because it gives people information of what is going on, rather than hearing on the airwaves.
And at forums like this, I suggest, Mr. Speaker, that nothing should be off limits.
Over 65% of our people that are living below the poverty line. So standing here to make any excuses about our salaries, about our allowances, will not be entertained by Nigerians.
1 year scorecard of the House was unveiled to the public, revealing the passage of 89 bills, including the Federal Audit Service Act Amendment Bill 2023 to strengthen financial oversight and transparency.
For 3 days, the 10th House of Representatives will be open to citizens' scrutiny and interactions, and everyone expects that these interactions will touch the issues that touch the masses. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikpen, NTA News.
Participants at the 2024 People's Engagement with lawmakers from the Green Chamber say inclusiveness and citizens' participation are key factors to achieving good governance and purposeful democracy in Nigeria. National Assembly correspondent Isa Mohammed engages some lawmakers and civil society groups on understanding the place of this initiative in legislative practice.
No doubt, the core value and responsibility of the legislative arm of government is to make laws for peace, development, and good governance of the country. 25 years down the lane of uninterrupted democracy and legislative journey in Nigeria, especially the House of Representatives, a lot has been achieved. The stakeholders noted that gone are the days of unsatisfactory representation, hence the need for the citizenry to be acquainted with the nitty-gritty of legislative practice for clear understanding of their roles as constituents.
Today, when you look at an institution like traditional institutions, absent from being included in the governance, it has given us a long while of gap, whereby in those days, the issue of security, health, education, it all come together in their own trust as part of their own responsibility.
Well, my message back home from this engagement today to the citizens of Nigeria is that they should participate actively in government and in governance, and they should also stop going about spreading false rumors or false news, which is very wrong, and it doesn't help the growth of our country, Nigeria.
It's an open interacting with the Nigerians to come and meet their parliament and discuss about Nigeria and way forward.
Questions were asked and answers were provided, as participants believe that survival of democracy largely depends on the understanding the rudiments of legislation through active participation.
Take home here is the fact that this is an assembly that is open, this is an assembly that is always ready to engage the public, this is an assembly that is always open to hear the opinion of Nigerians so that together we can make laws that will better the life of the ordinary Nigerian.
The House of Representatives is people representatives. We are speaking for the people. There should be a forum where the people who actually know what we are doing, where we can tap from people's knowledge in lawmaking process. So what is happening today is to show the entire world that the running of the House is in the open.
The engagement continues with interactive sections with members of the State House of Assemblies, traditional rulers, and civil society groups. From the National Assembly, Isa Muhammad, NTA News.
In the past 3 years, only 1/3 of the states of the Federation conducted local government elections in Nigeria. This is a breach to the 7th section of the 1999 Constitution as amended, which guaranteed election of local government administrators. In this next report, National Assembly correspondent Joshua Ogunjide examines the practice and how to reverse the trend in the important tier of government.
Heads of local government cannot handle the affairs of council, especially finances, and that brought about this issue of joint account.
That's the genesis of the collapse of local government structure in Nigeria. In the last 3 years, few states of Katsina, Gombe, Kaduna, Borno, Sokoto, Adamawa, Yobe, Kebbi, Plateau, Niger, Ekiti, Oyo, Edo and Ebonyi were the only set of subnationals that have conducted local government elections. Recently in Rivers State, political observers say 2 wrongs are trying to make a right. The tenure of the elected local government chairman expired on June 17, 2024, while a section of the State Assembly is insistent on extending their tenure through a piece of legislation. However, the governor took no time to replace them with caretaker leadership, as the case is now before the Court of Jurisdiction. Our constitutional is the caretaker committee in administering the local government councils.
Section 7 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, with some amendments, as amended, has guaranteed the existence of local governments. And those guarantees are tied to election. That the people who are going to run the local government system are to be elected. And the Constitution has guaranteed the survival of the local government. Then when you go to the first schedule of the Constitution, paragraph 7 equally has listed the duties and functions of the local government.
Both the candidates and the people that vote for them, if they believe that, look, INEC conducting elections will have more confidence in the outcome, so be it.
Alleged corruption alongside political dominance, however, have been identified as incentives charging some state governors forward in the disregard of the 1999 Constitution as amended in matters affecting local government.
If such impactment takes place in local government, it is left for the agencies that have already been established by government to ensure that those persons that are involved in such do not have their way. Why must it be that of the local government or area council? There is an offense or as an issue that must be caged.
Section 162 that created the public account. federation account, sorry, federation account. And then there was a Supreme Court decision in 2002 arising from the suit in Supreme Court over resource control. And the Supreme Court said the three tiers of government are the owners of the federation account.
It's only FCT that is practicing financial autonomy. But both administrative autonomy and the financial autonomy states are not enjoying. What we are saying and what we are crying for, since it's one logo we are carrying as Norgi, we are saying that what is applied in FCT should be applicable to other states.
We must also realize that even the register being used by the various state governments for the conduct of their elections is the one prepared by INEC.
As part of recommendations by experts, not only should the autonomy of the local government be implemented, but also the independence of other arms of government, the parliament and judiciary. In Abuja, Joshua Okuchidi, NTA News.
The minority leader of the Ogun State House of Assembly, Lukman Adeleye, is appealing to President Bola Tinubu to prevail on state governors to allow the implementation of financial autonomy of the state houses of assembly for the much-needed developments, delivery of dividends and democracy and good governance in the country. The lawmaker observed that the current arrangements where the state legislature can barely breathe is not only unconstitutional, but depriving the House right for effective oversight functions and checks and balances, while the other arms of government also suffer lack of deserving true independence. Parliamentary correspondent Yemi Dalemo reports.
The implementation of financial autonomy for the state legislature and judiciary, approved and assented to by the former president Muhammadu Buhari, provides that the legislative and judicial arms of government in the 36 states of the federation will no longer have to wait on state governors for funds. But despite the amendment to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to provide not only for financial autonomy for the state legislature, but also for its implementation adequately, many state governors have been alleged to not implementing the law. Minority leader of the Ogun State House of Assembly, Lukman Adeleye, while addressing his colleagues at plenary, says the law, if implemented by the 36 state governors in Nigeria, will no doubt strengthen legislative institutions at the state level and ultimately ensure effective governance in our country.
Whether we like it or not, there is no way our State House of Assembly can discharge their duty effectively without financial autonomy.
The lawmaker also argued that stakeholders and partners, including the Nigeria Governors Forum, had agreed on the implementation of the law, but wonder why the chief executive of the states refused to give their full support, thereby starving the legislative arm of government of funds to perform their duties effectively.
We had thought that since the Nigeria Governors Forum were part of the stakeholders that really put in place this amendment, this alteration, one would have thought that, okay, the state should start implementing it. But what do we see? It is the same of the same. As of today, no state assembly can function without running to the executive arm. For instance, if you want to, how do you ensure probity? How do you ensure accountability when you have to even depend on logistics from the executive?
Local government, House of Assembly autonomy is a sure thing for the state, and I'm sure that the members will make good use of it.
The lawmaker and a former speaker of the Ogun State House of Assembly, Muyiwa Oladipo, appealed to President Bola Tinubu to advise the 36 state governors to grant financial autonomy to both the legislative and judicial arms of government and that of the local government in the interest of entrenching true democracy in the country. In Abeokuta, Yemi Dalemo, NTA News.
The Sultanate Council expresses support and willingness to accept any law passed by the state government concerning its activities. The representative of the Sultanate Council, Mohammed Jabi Kyogori, gave the assurance at the public hearing on amendment of Local Government Bill 2008 held at the mini chamber of the Sokoto State House of Assembly. Our legislative correspondent Nuruddin Abdullahi Adili has more.
The amendment of the Local Government Bill 2008, if amended, the Sultan will be suppressed from all powers to appoint or dethrone any traditional ruler in the state. The Sultanate Council expressed willingness and commitment to accept any law approved by the state government. His Eminence made the remarks through the representative of the Sultanate Council and a kingmaker, Muhammad Jabi Kilgori. Some organizations, individuals, and groups, as well as the coalition of the NGOs, views the development as undermining function of the Sultanate Council.
My call to the state government and our lawmakers is to be bona fide and truly son of the caliphate, to reject this bill amendment in its totality.
We are calling on the Sokoto state government and also the state assembly to please set aside that bill, particularly those sections, because if anything, the Sultanate Council should be strengthened more to discharge their age-long duty of peace, social stability, economic development, and operationalization of government policies.
However, the Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice Nasir Muhammad Benji clarifies that Section 5, Subsection 2 of the Constitution of Nigeria clearly stated that the power to appoint district, village heads, and any other person to work with traditional institutions is vested on the power of the executive. The provision of the Constitution, which are supreme stipulated the power to appoint any person, is within the ambit of the executive, and the state governor is the only person who exercises the executive power of the state. Benji stated that if amended, the law will enhance general administration of local government and chieftaincy matters. Regarding the bill proposing an extension of tenure of local government chairmen from 2 years to 3 years, the Attorney General insisted that it is aimed at enhancing efficiency of the elected local government officials in the discharge of their responsibility.
The provision granting the power to appoint to the Sultanate Council was to us inconsistent with the provisions of the Constitution, and we felt duty bound to present it to the House for amendment in order to return to the accepted practice, which everybody knows in the state, that the functions of the Sultanate Council, when it comes to appointment of district heads and village heads, is to recommend to the governor for appointment, and that is what is going to be retained.
The chairman of the committee, Saidu Ibrahim Neno, representing Sabon Birni South, stated that the public hearing is aimed at engaging general public in the amendment of the bill to generate more input and make it clear that the state government and the state assembly are not witch hunting anybody, as it is being circulated particularly on the sections of the social media. The session attracted representatives of civil society organizations, students, and people from all walks of life. From the Sokoto State House of Assembly, Nuruddin Abdullahi Adili, NTA News.
We now pause for a short break. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. You are watching NTA Parliament News. You can follow this newscast and other programs on the platforms on the screen. Senate has set up an ad hoc committee to conduct holistic investigation of the oil and gas industry. Among terms of reference of the committee being chaired by Senate Leader Okpeyemi Bamidele are to check parameters used by NNPC Limited to examine shipments, direct sale, direct purchase arrangements, as well as timeline for completion of repair of government-owned refineries. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports. A motion from Senator Asukwa Ekpenyong in relation to importation of substandard diesel into Nigeria opened the floodgates of concerns from lawmakers on some critical issues in the oil and gas industry, which over time remain unresolved.
Toxic emissions from the diesel contribute to respiratory illnesses and other health issues, as well as degrade engine life that would force consumers to deal with frequent vehicle and generator breakdowns with attendant higher maintenance costs.
Our refineries were under repair, and over $4 billion had been invested in this by government at different times. And we have been given different dates when these refineries will be up and running. And none of those dates had worked.
We have unbundled NNPC, but also at the same time tie their hands and they cannot do anything.
We demand that we need a major reform. Head must roll in the Nigerian Petroleum Corporation and even other agencies of the government that are saddled with this responsibility.
The impact on the economy and tackling the problems will in the next 3 weeks preoccupy members of the committee.
We may have to go into even the issues of the Act, the PIA. We must look back at the PIA. We have a right as a parliament. Don't we have the right? We have the right to look back and see whether the thing is working for us or not.
Senator Danjuma Goje, in another motion, wants the federal government to have a second look at the Renewed Hope Legacy Infrastructure Road Project map because the entire Northeast region has been excluded.
This has stimulated unprecedented concerns and agitations from the region in view of the strategic roles these projects will play in this country. While we are very anxious about the coastal road, the low-hanging fruit is to also start the Akwanga Jos to Gombe.
It will not be complete if the entire people of Northeast and Plateau particularly do not have a means of getting to the federal capital.
Senate, in the meantime, has suggested the use of technology to detect terrorists, insurgents and other criminals in their hideouts as they condemn and mourn victims of the recent suicide bomb attack in Goza, Borno State.
This time around, the Nigerian Army and other security forces responded promptly and gallantly. In fact, one soldier lost his life and a civilian JTF when they confronted the fifth suicide bomber that detonated the bomb and killed the three of them there.
The resurgence of suicide bombings, having consigned it to the dustbin of history in the last 5 or 6 years, is very, very unfortunate.
It costs nothing for the intelligent army to get devices in their phone. As I'm here, I check my phone regularly, and I know the number of guns that are very close to me here.
I also want to call on Mr. President to continue what he's doing. I know what he's doing. I know he's meeting every day, he's working, having sleepless night to show that, to make sure that this country becomes safe from terrorists and bandits.
Lawmakers urge the National Emergency Management Agency to assist those affected by the incident. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News. The Director General of the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, Professor Suleiman Abubakar, has enjoined state parliamentarians to enhance their legislative skills that will translate to the delivery of dividends of democracy to constituents through a collaborative partnership with other arms of governments. Professor Suleiman was speaking at a 3-day capacity building workshop put together by NILS for Imo State Assembly in Abuja. Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports.
Archives, archaeological platform, they all work together. And that is why our governments must always encourage participants like us to get into the library and information management, which to me is the only one that increases productivity in our various institutions.
The Speaker of the State Assembly and other participants, while sharing their experiences, applauded the Institute for the initiative, describing it as timely.
This training has imparted so much positive in all the House Assembly members by what we have been given the Imolite through legislative measures.
I believe that more women will be more interested because we've gone to some houses of assembly and we've noticed that some have as many as 4 women, some have as many as 5, 6 women. But in our own house, for some reason, I don't know what the reason is. I didn't participate in elections. There is no woman. But I want to believe that by the next election, after their 4-year tenure, more women will be interested.
Workshop participants from Imo State are exposed to oversight tools and strategies as well as basic principles of parliamentary practice and procedure. In Abuja, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
That concludes the bulletin at this time. Enjoy the rest of our programs. On behalf of the production crew, I am Ene Ojonugba. Have a good evening.